Then we start talking about the seats.
I was gonna say, that's better. Or you can take someone out on the interstate. Oh, I felt so horrible for that woman. You know what?
She was a little anxious.
This is my I'm so sorry.
No, I
Didn't even see it at all.
We waited for you.
Stayed by 1 minute.
Yeah, woohoo!
Yeah.
Yay.
Take a moment.
You put it in PDF.
I might have.
I thought
Where I can
I'm
read
gonna
it.
forget it.
Yeah, so. I don't know what that means,
It means nothing. We want,
right?
well,
No, they're
for all
not
intents and
vote.
purposes, we
Nothing.
did because, no, I didn't think it's recorded.
No, even on center, I don't think so.
Yeah, and they can speak and so.
Okay,
The
so
only
it's
thing
like
Mike,
nothing.
the only thing Mike could do was vote. Anything else.
Yeah.
Useful for all intents and purposes. That was the referral we got from Brown County, because it's how we do it to Brown County.
I thought we got two different things going here. All right. I think it's 8 o'clock. I think we should call this meeting to order of the Aviation Committee on Wednesday, June 7th, 2023, 8 a.m. Thank you all for coming. Appreciate it. Item 1, approve minutes of May 3rd, 2023 meeting.
So,
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded. Any discussion or corrections? Anything on the minutes? All those in favor?
I,
Opposed? Carried. Number 2, public comment on agenda items or any item under the jurisdiction of this committee. Does anybody in the audience have anything to speak on at this point? But as usual, you can speak on any of the items when we get to them. Okay. Number 3, airport director's report. A, East GA hangar project update. Jim?
Thank you, Madam Chair, members of the committee. In your packet, I included a aerial image from, it was taken May 25th of the building site. So hopefully you had a chance to take a look at that. It basically shows that both building pads are essentially more or less complete to varying degrees. The west pad is actually a bit further along since that picture was taken, to the point where the west pad had been scheduled for the first slab pour, the floor for the hangars, this morning. I believe it sounds like they're going to be scheduled for tomorrow due to some logistical issues with the contractor, but intending to have the first slab pour done now tomorrow, and the second one was scheduled for Friday. So we're hopeful that we'll at least have the first slab done by the end of this week or at the latest early next week. The east pad is basically a little bit behind the west pad as far as they focused on the west pad first. As far as Cardinal Construction, the building contractor, who's been going now for a couple of weeks. They've made some very good progress in those couple of weeks, to the point where we anticipate the building slab on the east building either late next week or early the following week. So with that, they are anticipating, unless this has changed now this morning, they're anticipating their first delivery of building materials, so the steel for the hangar buildings themselves should be today.
It's parked over there.
It's already there, okay. So we've got taken delivery on that, so that's kind of a big milestone. We can't build the building without the steel. And so that's always one of those things that is long lead times these days, seemingly, and I think they ordered those materials back in late fall last year. So they're showing up now, and we're very happy about that. With the actual hangars themselves, we're still on track for around a September 1st occupancy date. And things could change with the contractor schedule, but one thing we've had in the last few weeks is dry weather, very hot weather, but very dry weather. So that's been helpful for the construction progress to date. We are essentially full now, I believe, on all 20 units for commitments on leasing. Okay, we're at 18. So right now, we're working down the waiting list, and I think we've got another couple spots to secure. So I don't know how far Kim has been down the waiting list, but some portion of it. So I thought we were getting almost full. We are almost full. And so we've got a couple of spaces left. Sure they'll be taken for the folks on the waiting list. And then once all those hangar spaces are leased, once we have those all set, any spaces that are vacated by current tenants who are taking a new space will be backfilled off the waiting list as well. And we anticipate that leasing time frame coming up in July or August, the Aviation Committee. So next 30 days or so, we'll start working on getting all the necessary documentation for all those folks that are leasing the new hangar spaces. And then either at the July meeting or the August meeting, we'll be bringing the leases to the Aviation Committee, and then subsequently the County Board, in anticipation of, at this point, a September 1st occupancy date for the hangars. And so that essentially concludes my work on the hangar project. Happy to answer any questions.
Those tarps. Oh, the yellow stuff? With
The
the tires
yellow?
on top? Mhm.
So the yellow, if you see on the east building pad, it looks like stone, which it is. So the
Gravel.
yellow is just a layer above the stone layer, and that is insulation and a vapor barrier before they pour concrete.
That's what I
And
thought.
since then,
My husband and I had a disagreement about it last night. He's like, those are tarps. I'm like, I don't know. I think it might be a vapor thing. And
it's a vapor barrier held
I was
down by
right. I can say that now.
all the little black circles. They're held down by essentially like the bases of orange cone, the
Yeah,
little barrels kind of thing.
Tires,
Not tires,
tires?
they
Well,
look
they're-
like tires.
the sidewalls of tires that are,
Oh.
that's how they recycle.
So he's kind of right, because he said those look like tires.
So that's just to hold it
Okay.
down so it doesn't go anywhere. But yes, so it's a vapor barrier. Yellow.
Figured.
So progress is good and tenants are good and county board should be good.
Should be.
Should be.
Until they want to micromanage the rates.
Again.
Well, that's
Will they go to
That's
county
sad.
board?
We already.
Yeah, more than a year lease.
Oh, excuse me, they will not go to county board because they're less than 1 year leases. So anything 1 year or less doesn't go to the county board, it'll just be the aviation. Good point, thank you.
So I could bring something up at the county board meeting
Yes, you would
to that effect.
certainly it'd be
Explain
very,
that so people don't get their toes in them.
very nice to get
Okay,
an update when you.
I think
Yes,
we'll do follow-up
okay.
already.
so after it goes through committee, I'll do that. Okay. Anybody else have anything? All right, thanks, Judy, for that. B, NIFA SafeCon recap.
Thank you, Madam Chair, members of the committee. Also in your packet, I included a slide of some photos from the event. Real briefly, the top photo is top left photo is all of the, or some of the flight school planes once they were relocated on the west ramp over by the control tower, the EA grounds over there. The middle middle photo on top is the temporary paint markings that our crews put down for their spot landing competition. So each line there is an increment of 5 feet, and their target line is kind of the furthest big full width runway line that you see, and the second one that you see in the picture for their spot landing competition. So kudos to our guys for putting that down. Typically speaking, for the event, they put out temporary markings with either chalk.
Yeah.
And so that gets messy and hard to maintain. And so we just decided we were really good at temporary paint. We would do that so that they didn't have to mess with that all week, and then it really turned out very well. The next picture over here is a couple of the flight schools showing up before the event, parked over here, just east of the terminal building on the old terminal apron. The bottom left is meant to show Oshkosh Corpus taxiing out while a lot of those planes were parked. One of the things that I'd say went very well is that we were able to keep our normal traffic flowing to the best of our abilities with the event going on. I know some folks were concerned about that, but just meant to show that that was still going on. The bottom middle is a snapshot of their nav route day. So they go out and they fly a certain route. So the red lines are essentially portions of that route that they go and they fly a circuit and then come back. And then bottom right, we always like pictures of nice modern military jets. We had a couple F-35s here from the Air Force and also a couple A-10s here, recruiting these kids to join the military. And so that was a nice showing from the Air Force to bring those assets here. In total, we had 28 flight programs show up, over 400 competitors, excuse me, and including competitors, judges, volunteers for the event. More than 700 people were here in town for the NIFA SafeCon event. We did put together the numbers from April 24th, when the first couple of schools started showing up, to May 12th. And that's a span of 18 days. We had 10,701 operations in that 18 days. So for May though, from May 1st to the end of May, we had 12,140 in the month of May. A typical May for us is somewhere around 5,000 operations. So it was quite a bit busier than normal. I would say kudos to our ops and maintenance staff for facilitating a lot of the logistics surrounding the event on the airfield. And then also our air traffic control tower. During AirVenture, 65 to 70 air traffic controllers are brought in from the country, all over the country to facilitate the event. During this event, we had 4 full-time staff and one temporary staff for 5 controllers to handle the entire event. And I would say our air traffic control tower did amazing. So I was hoping Chip would be here today, but they really did with the short staff and something that they're not accustomed to day in, day out with all that traffic. And keeping everybody safe and separated. So kudos to them. It's very much a big undertaking for the tower controllers to have a safe event, and really, from what I saw, to keep everyone else being able to operate at the airport and not, totally shutting it down to other traffic. So that concludes my recap of NIFA.
Is this an event that they move around the country every year? And if so, are they looking at coming back here anytime in the near future?
Yes, so they typically have had it historically at the Ohio State Airport in Columbus, Ohio. Next year, they've already essentially settled on Janesville. So they went to Janesville in 2019. They went back in between after the COVID year to Ohio State to do one, and then here. So next year will be in Janesville. We've shown that the event works very well here. EAA hosted in their facilities the ground events, and I think that went very well from everything I heard. Not only some of the exhibit hall hangar space, but then also the museum and some of the new conference center space. And so I think we've shown that it's a great spot to have this event in. I'm trying to see Jim nodding his head, but there are other airports where they might not be as well set up for this, and I would say that we have a very strong possibility of having this back in the future. That's good to hear. Thanks.
Jim, do you have a comment on that part of it right now? Before you
all I know is that after what Jim said, they really enjoyed this airport and all the hospitality. And they're looking for a long-term contract starting in 2025, so that there's some negotiation and preliminary right now.
Okay,
Better to hear.
super. All right, thanks, Jim. Appreciate
And I
that.
would mention, we did, to accommodate the Pioneer Airport shutdown, we did not fly.
So other than that, did you have any other thing from any of the tenants that it was too hard to fly, or nothing really
I haven't
outstanding?
heard too much. I mean, I think people did restrict, there was no touch and go landings during that period. But it wasn't onerous, but all right.
Okay.
We wanted to be supportive. We'd like to see the airport be used for other events, and so
Right.
it was somewhat of an inconvenience, but that was appropriate. That's just what we have to do.
Good to hear. Thank you. All right, thanks, Jim, for that information. Item 4, Deputy Director's Report, a interim introduction. Kendra.
Thank you. I'd like to introduce Nicoletta Salvatore. She started last week. She's from the Chicago area, senior at Lewis University in aviation management. She'll be with us through the end of August. Working, of course, AirVenture, our side of that. She's going to be helping with lease database we're putting together. I've mentioned a few months ago at this meeting. She is going to be putting together an aircraft recognition guide for our fire department, which they requested. Those are a few of our projects in addition to shadowing Jason, Jim, and I. So we look forward to having her here. I don't know if you want to say anything. Hello.
Hi, thanks for having me.
She will be reporting to this group in July and August on what she's up to. So expect to hear more from her.
Awesome. Is this your first time? Have you been to this airport before?
I haven't been to the airport, but I did go to AirVenture last year.
Okay.
So I guess I was at the airport, but
So now you'll be involved in it.
yes. Okay.
Welcome aboard.
Thank you.
Okay. Item 5, discuss and approve a ground lease renewal between Winnebago County and Badger Works LLC. Karen?
All right, thank you. Thanks again. Badger Works LLC built their own hangar and apron about 20 years ago, and their lease is due for a renewal. The Badger Works hangar is a 60 by 60 hangar. The lease, as normal, includes a 5-foot buffer around the property, including the apron. We did something similar recently, a couple months ago, where we had to add the apron to the total square footage. We did that again with this lease. It was not included originally in 2003, so that did add some square feet to the calculation. This hangar is located along taxiway Kilo on the east side near Sonic's aircraft. We're going to start this lease, as all leases we've been renewing, at the ordinance rate, 19 cents per square foot per year. And we'll adjust it every 3 years based on inflation through CPIU. And we set the term of this agreement to another 20 years, which would go through June 30th of 2043. The ground lease will be $1263.50 per year. And then, as I mentioned, increase every 3 years after that. Our requested action is that you approve the ground lease between Winnebago County and Badger Works LLC.
Do I have a motion?
Second.
Motion to approve and seconded. Anybody on the committee have any questions on this one? Or comments?
How many of these do we have where they own their own building? I'm just curious.
Total of 123 leases, and I don't know how many of that, 40?
That's a great question. I don't have an exact
I
number,
just,
but
just a little bit,
one-
I don't
one-
have to have exact,
one sort of
just
rule of
curious.
thumb I always point out is we have about 172 based aircraft. We have 83 hangar, now we're actually increasing, but prior to the new hangar project, we had 83 hangar units that we owned. So that's a mix of T hangars and some other hangar space. And so if you take 83 hangars that we own and there's 83 based aircraft in those hangars, roughly the other half, or 80 to 90 aircraft, are based in privately owned hangars on leased land, essentially, because there's very few that are out in the cold and not in a hangar. So that's sort of the rule of thumb I always mention. That doesn't mean that all of these are similar to Badger Works, but I'd say the majority of them are. We have a lot of individual box hangars that have been leased on lease over the years. So, that's a great question. I'll get you the exact number next
Oh,
week.
you do not have to, just a little estimate, that's all I needed, just curious.
Quite a few.
Any other questions from the committee? All right. All those in favor of renewing the lease between Winnebago County and Badger Works LLC?
I,
Opposed? Carried. Okay, item 6, discuss and approve an office space lease renewal between Winnebago County and Next Gen Studios LLC. And I don't know if the whole committee is familiar, but maybe we just give them some side information as we explain what went on there. With the initial type that we had. Because they weren't on the committee, so
Yeah, just go through the agenda.
Okay.
you'll explain it.
All right, thank you. Next Gen Studios LLC, they've been a longtime tenant of airport space. Jennifer Jensen is the owner of Next Gen. She's the producer of the Aviators TV show, among many other things that she does. So she's definitely aviation related, but does all sorts of things. And she uses the office that's right up front here that was originally intended for a rental car facility. Backstory, Hertz went out of business prior to COVID. They used to be in our own terminal. They haven't come back. We're still searching for a rental car tenant. So we've been leasing this office out to anybody that will take it on a year-to-year basis. So that way, if we do have a rental car company come in, we can switch that out within a year. This little office up here is 139 square feet. And we've been increasing each year her lease rate by the CPIU. This year it was 3.8%. And so this new agreement is for another year starting July 1st through June 30th of 2024. And the current rate is $181.05 per month. We request that you approve the airport office lease between Winnebago County and Next Gen Studios LLC.
Anybody have questions on that?
We moved other states.
I know you did, but I'm just making sure everybody understands what's going on.
1-year lease renewal, so yeah.
Yeah.
we've been on
Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, 7, operations and maintenance.
Morning, Madam Chair, members of the committee. We've actually finished our first round of herbicide spraying around the fence lines and all the lights, so if it stays dry, maybe we won't have to do a second round, but yeah, we'll probably have to do a second round. In terms of AirVenture 2023, we've received all of the paint, all of the temporary paint, and any permanent paint we would need for that, so that's all on hand, and we'll start painting probably about the 5th or 6th of July. The B-52 is expected to show up for the air show, be in place during the duration of the air show. If that happens, at least at a minimum, a third of our runway lights will have to come down, so that's something we're going to be challenged with, but we'll take care of that. Seasonal employees, we had a couple of part-time, or we had one part-time, and the other one, as of the last meeting, hadn't shown up yet, so we're up to 3 full-time employees, so we're at full staff with them. They've been working on getting all the mowing done around the airport. Airfield painting, we've started painting the north side of the airport, and for the NIFA SafeCon event, all of the temporary markings that we put down, we were able to remove those in half a day, so that was pretty exciting that we got that done so quickly. We found some other equipment that seems to work a lot better, so hopefully after AirVenture, I think it normally would take us about 3 days to remove everything. Hopefully that shortens up these new tactics that we found. That's all I've got.
Any questions for Jason? All's good there? Number 8, EAA report. Back to you, Jim.
I don't have a lot. That our advanced ticket sales are 30% higher compared to last year at this time. So a lot of energy, a lot of people. I think we had a great year last year. The weather really contributed to that. Remember that and we'll be coming back. So we anticipate big crowds and a lot of interesting and unique aircraft coming in this year. So we're going to have a great year.
30%?
30% now. It's a lot of people.
Economic impact. Yep, great. Thank you, Jim.
Welcome.
Anybody have any questions of Jim? Okay. Chairman's report. Don't have anything. You answered my question about the waiting list for the movie, so that's good. And the governor was here yesterday, so I'm back to you, because he was at the EAA
Yes, he's
museum.
at the EAA along with Amy Albright. And they gave a report about the economic. In 2022 of the state, they set their own records, including their ventures. So it was nice. It was nice recognition for the airport, I think, for Winnebago County and for the EAA and the community as a whole.
Item 10, committee member statements, suggestion items for future agenda. Anybody have anything that, if you do, along the way, be sure to let us know. All right, set next meeting date. I've got,
I have a question for the committee, how you'd like to have, we're gonna have 20 new lease agreements coming to you either July or August, hopefully August. Okay, August. How would you like those handled? Do you want 20 individual line items, or do you want, kind of, I don't want to say it's a consent agenda type of deal.
Why can't you do a consent agenda?
Yeah, well, again, I'm asking the committee if you'd like to see it as one item, and we'll list out in our
Yeah.
agenda item report, we'll list out everybody, and they're all gonna be the same parameters for these. But it's just a list of names then, and or business names, we'll whichever is the
And then
lessee, so.
they hang a number.
If we need to
Sure,
know,
yeah.
well,
Yeah, I mean, why can't we do, let's do a consider visit.
Just throwing that out there for
Means anybody else?
future meetings.
You okay with
Or do
it?
we wanna sit here and watch one?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, we can read them one by one, it's probably the committee's.
If somebody wants to
Okay with
pull
one.
one out, they still have that option, but
Like if one of them's your neighbor, just skip
Yeah.
That might work perfect for the consent agenda.
that's what it was developed for.
Yes.
I like that.
Okay, there's your answer.
Okay.
We're good.
Thank you.
Next meeting day is July 5th. I know it's right after the 4th, but here's my gig on that. We want to be as consistent as we can be, but, and we really, I hate to postpone it more because we might postpone the August meeting, like we talked last year, so can we do the 5th?
sounds like a given after last year. What's the August meeting being later?
I mean, we always appreciate that little bit of extra time, but
I will be here for the 5th, I don't know about anybody else,
will?
but I
You'll
will.
be,
I will
you'll
not.
be here for,
Oh, yeah.
oh, yeah.
I will not.
I will not.
But I can do it.
Will you be here on the 5th? Okay, then.
Rough the third and the fourth, right? Yeah, third and fourth.
Because Monday is,
Monday and
The
Tuesday is
third. I don't know how the county works with that.
Actually, the third and the
I gotta
fourth.
take a look.
That was too good. I could be wrong.
I think we should meet on the 5th, but.
I'm assuming it won't be a lot on the agenda.
Right.
Well, it could be.
So it sounds like the
20
August
minutes.
meeting will bring on the leases.
No, I think that's gonna be until August, right, for
Well,
the
then after
leases?
Yeah.
I think
If we have a quorum of the committee,
So who can make it on the 5th? Kobe,
As far
you're
as I
saying
I will
no?
not be.
Jeff? I will not. Okay, then I'll make it, so we'll have a quorum.
it'll be probably cool.
I think we'll do it. But you guys could do Zoom or no?
I don't think I can where I'm gonna
Okay.
be.
Yeah, I can zoom in.
Okay, all right.
And I might be here, so.
Let's leave it that it's a 5th.
Tuesday I'll be gone, but
Someday I'll be, I think, at 3.
All right, I need a motion to adjourn.
move to adjourn.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded, all in favor?
Hi.
Opposed? Adjourned.
We're doing our global entry interview in Chicago the next day.
Thank you, everybody.
Have you seen that one? I am so excited.
No, right.
Free TSA, dude. Yeah, free TSA, but it's not out of global. And I'm like, done. I'm like, when we fly into Chicago from international, I don't know if you guys have done it before, but you get out to that basement, and it's like an hour later, you're still in line. I'm like, no, I'm done with
Just
this.
to let you know.
So the whole family's going down to get it.